Hey guys, it's about 3 o'clock on November 16th. I didn't really talk this morning because we hung up right next to a bedding area, and it was super windy anyway. And then I was just cold. I was just freezing. I didn't see anything this morning. I saw 4 toms and a spike. Nothing that I can shoot. Chris saw nothing. So we're back out, kind of separated. Chris is hunting a different ridge, about 150 yards from me. I'm hunting where we were the first night, but I moved down to the bottom, because then anything that moved through the bottom we couldn't see. And there was evidence that this is where deer were coming from, some of them that Chris saw that I never got to see. Hunting from the ground because we're tired of carrying stands and saddles and sticks and all that. Plus I bent the tool to adjust my camera shoulder, so I can't really do anything with that anyway. After 2 nights of sleeping on a cot, getting rough sleep, that pack's getting heavier and heavier. So, didn't really encounter anybody in here this morning. There was one guy here before we got here, and he was gone before we left at 10. So he didn't stick it out very long. We only hunted like 3 hours. Seems most of the deer moved midday here. So, we're in here a little early. We got 3 hours till last light. I'm hunting to fill the freezer, so I may shoot anything legal. We'll see. It's a little thick in here, so I hope I can get some footage. I managed to get footage of those turkeys from a couple 100 yards off this morning, so I think it's possible. So, best of luck. Hope your guys' opening day was much better than ours. That would be Chris shooting the doe.
Hey guys, what's up? So, I promised Robert that I would do kind of a quick interview to wrap up our last video in the deer hunting series that we put out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film any of my hunting because I didn't have the equipment. But Robert did a pretty good job. He got quite a bit of stuff on film. Basically everything that he's seen, I've seen as well. We hunted not too far apart. The first day that we was out there was kind of a learning experience for me, or a relearning experience. I hunted areas like that, big timber, quite a bit when I was a kid. But as I got older, I started hunting, strip mines. Areas where we didn't have a lot of hardwood timber. It was basically CRP fields, ag fields and whatnot. First day we seen a few deer here and there. Kind of learned the lay of the land, where I wanted to go the following day. And on that following day I actually had the opportunity to shoot a doe. I don't know why I didn't want to. Just honestly, I couldn't tell how big that deer was. I couldn't tell if it was a yearling or a big doe. It gets kind of hard to tell the size of a single deer whenever it's in big woods like that. But that afternoon And we had a pretty good experience with a decent buck. Wasn't huge, but he ended up winding one of us and kind of blew around through a fit. The evening before opening day of gun season was actually pretty cool. I had a big spike run a doe around me. I think Robert's seen that as well. I don't believe he got that on film. But I was hearing a lot of stuff across this big kind of a power line cut where we actually had been hunting. And I was hearing, bucks chasing does down there. It sounded like a couple different bucks. Decided that I kind of wanted to hunt that area on opening day. Opening day of gun season, that is. That first morning, opening day of firearm season, it was cold, kind of miserable. We didn't hunt very long at all. We just kind of recouped, regrouped, and decided to come up with a better game plan for that afternoon. And that morning, I actually found a huge scrape, just a big community scrape that just had a lot of action around it. So I decided I was going to hunt on the ground, overlooking that scrape about 50 yards out. That afternoon, pretty good. It wasn't 45 minutes to an hour or so of sitting there, and I had a big doe come in, and she actually laid down about 100 yards in front of me, and I couldn't get a good shot. I didn't want to shoot her while she was laying down. I scoped on her for about an hour and just waited for her to stand up. When she did, I pulled her. Shortly after that, I had a buck chasing a doe through there, but I couldn't never see the buck. I seen glimpses of him. I couldn't tell how big he was or anything. And the buck that I ended up shooting, he came through with a spike and a doe. They were actually chasing her. At first I couldn't quite tell if that was a buck that I wanted to shoot until he turned sideways, and I just seen the length of his rack, and I just decided, I'll go ahead and take this buck. He's a good buck. Whenever I shot, I thought I missed because he just kind of stood there, and I was trying to reacquire him in my scope, and he kind of took off up the hill, and I couldn't shoot that direction over the hill because I didn't know where Robert was, and started feeling kind of bummed actually, and I heard him crash, and it sounded like he crashed. Got a hold of Robert, and we still had about an hour of daylight left. Told him that he could hunt if he wanted to or whatever. He decided to come down to me, and I walked up over the hill, and that buck was laying there. That was pretty cool. 2 deer, one afternoon, kind of filled most of my tags for the year. We decided to go home that night. Just kind of sucked sleeping in a teepee for a few nights, teens and 20s. This year we might do that again, same area. I don't know yet. We'll kind of decide that later. But the 2019 deer season was actually a great one. I had a lot of good hunts. One opportunity on probably the biggest buck of my life, and mechanical error, and I shot over his back. I don't want to completely blame it on a mechanical error because it was my fault for not checking my equipment, but it happens. That's the kind of buck that'll give you nightmares, though. He's a 180-inch deer. Trying to pick him up again already. It's almost June now, and I'm trying to find that buck again. I believe he's still going to be in the same area. I'm confident that he made it through the season. Hopefully this probably be his last season, even if he doesn't get killed. He's an old deer. He's between 8 and 10 years old at least. We've got a couple more bucks that we're looking at that we know made it through the season. We got some pictures of them in January, February. It's hard to tell right now because they're just growing their antlers back after shedding. And I'm confident this season that Robert and I will put down a couple good bucks. We might be hunting Kentucky this year. Not sure yet. We have some plans to do a bunch of scouting videos and stuff, just kind of provide you guys with some content, entertaining, informational, and all that good stuff. We're going to try out some new properties this year, public land, and hopefully that property in Kentucky works out. It's not really a lease, it's just a coworker of mine just recently bought some property and said that we could hunt it, so we might do that just to extend our season. Hopefully turkey hunt it next year. Do some coyote hunting this year. I'm going to try to do a little more fishing. That's what I'm out here doing today. We got some plans this year. Hopefully it all works out. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. Check us out. Foot Traffic Only on Facebook and YouTube.